Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Masterclass by SABRE. As I indicated in the introduction, this Masterclass is under the title topic, Powering the Future of Travel Through Smart Retailing. We have heard in a couple of sessions today that we cannot expect the aviation industry to come back the same post-COVID. And therefore, we need to prepare ourselves on how we do business going forward. And in this session, two speakers, Mr. Steve Dooley, who is the Director Sales Europe, Middle East, and Africa for SABRE, and his counterpart, Mr. Christophe Viat, who is Senior Principal Sales Engineer at SABRE, will be taking us through on what we need to do to improve our smartness as far as retailing in the aviation business is concerned. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to an innovative masterclass with Steve and Christophe. Thank you. And Steve and Christophe, you have the audience.
Thank you very much, Rafael. Can you hear us okay? Can we get that first slide up? There we go. And afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our masterclass session. Hopefully you have your coffee and tea available. Our topic, as Rafael has pointed out, is powering the future of travel through smart retailing. And I'll just be your host today. I have been introduced already. So let's just move to the next slide, please. In the new normal, the now world, the need for smarter airline retailing and technology transformation is more important than ever to the travel industry. The road ahead is uncertain, but companies that are quick to adapt to the now world while preparing to compete and win as our industry recovers will be more likely to succeed. SABRE has been pursuing various developments in smarter retailing and technology transformation for some time now. And although the road remains difficult and unclear in the market, we believe this is where airlines will have to focus much more attention. Are we prepared? There's no denying the travel industry has suffered severe blows, as we've heard today, because of the health crisis. As vaccines roll out worldwide, we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and we can expect some recovery soon. As far as the agenda is concerned, I'll be covering a couple of the industry trends and challenges, just seen from different perspectives. And then we'll move on to Christophe's presentation, which would be much more on the next generation retailing to help power the future of travel. And throughout this, we have 5 polling questions, which hopefully will just break the ice and make sure everyone is participating in the masterclass. And we'll, I think DC will give you a clue as to how this is going to work. So we can actually start that on the next slide. DC? I think here, let's just do that first polling question, DC, if you don't mind. We're just asking everyone to please just answer. There are 4 answers or 4 particular questions. Sorry, 1 question and 4 answers that we just ask everyone to please answer. DC, you'll have to go back 1 slide.
Just a second, and DC will get the polling questions up.
Sure, thank you.
Okay, Steve, can we close the poll now?
Yes, has the poll been open? Sorry, I didn't see it.
Okay, DC, you close the poll now.
Okay, has everyone gone through that? I didn't see the poll come up, so I apologize. But if it's ready, do we have the responses there? I don't see anything on my screen.
I'm sorry. So yes, the responses are, we've received responses saying less than planned.
Less than planned. Excellent. Okay, I think that's a pretty common view around the world about planning leisure travel at the moment. So thanks everyone for pitching in there. So let's just move on then in terms of the industry trends and challenges. I think the important thing is, how do we now navigate this new or this now world that we're in? What's some of the changes that are taking place? And there's really three that I just want to bring up, which are quite interesting. One is deglobalization. As we know, globalization has been the buzzword for many years. We're now entering into almost a deglobalization because of the border restrictions that have slowed recovery for travel and for other industries. And case trends and the border restrictions, which are beyond our control. Some countries are entering third and fourth waves, as we know, and numbers of new cases are increasing in some of those areas. Rollout of vaccines in poorer countries are extremely slow in comparison with richer countries, and this will exacerbate this problem. The second area is demand dislocation. What we're seeing is that leisure and domestic travel are leading the recovery. Up to about 70% of shopping behavior we're seeing at the moment is near term, and it's for domestic travel primarily. Thirdly, there's a market evolution taking place. Consumers are leaning towards online like we've never seen before. And I guess most of you have been used to that during your respective lockdowns. The digital giants in general are growing very strongly. Amazon not only grew 26% last year, as an example, it's investing about $4 billion to exploit the consumer's online habit. So increased online behavior and the need for e-commerce is set to continue. It's more difficult than ever to understand traveler behavior. Traditional methodologies no longer apply, and we're all just guessing to some extent. There's a ton of data being generated, and as a result has created urgency for artificial intelligence and machine learning capability-led solutions. The next slide, please. So what are the challenges that the airlines have got to overcome to achieve a more personalized environment or personalized offers and end-to-end offer management? Again, three perspectives. From an IT perspective, airlines have access to lots of rich customer data outside of what's already available in a P&R. They must think about how to leverage that data along with available marketplace data to create feedback loops to improve future offers. They must challenge themselves to identify and implement new technologies like machine learning and artificial intelligence to increase the personalization capabilities of their offer management system and ensure they can scale to support increasing offer complexity. And secondly, from a business perspective, airlines must make the transition from discrete price points based on booking class to adopting classless revenue management practices that enable more accurate pricing based on willingness to pay. This is the new way of doing things. Airlines must also move to a one offer mindset, from a mindset of an air booking and then ancillaries to air booking plus ancillaries, all at the same time. This expands beyond traditional air ancillaries to third-party content that airlines must seamlessly offer and fulfill. Airlines have also got to look to expand their reach beyond the direct channel to consistently present the same rich offers in the indirect channel through NDC integration. And finally, from an organizational perspective, airlines should be removing silos that exist across pricing, revenue management, and ancillary teams to ensure an end-to-end view of offer management, a better perspective of looking at things internally. The next slide, please. So what does our road look like into the future? It's a new era of competition. The market evolution post-pandemic has had the travel industry rethinking retailing value creation in the near term. There's been significant demand drop, unstable and unknown market conditions, as we know, marked by constant changes to schedule, capacity, and price, and having to reintroduce capacity at low levels. Airlines must adapt and evolve to win in a smaller industry in the near term to price-sensitive travelers. Airlines are also going to compete with OTAs who are successful at creating offers and promotions and packaging. Now more than ever, it is critical to compete more effectively with more agility and flexible technologies. It's a long, winding road ahead, as we know. Difficult to see what's next. Less competitors, but fiercer ones, and potentially with fewer customers. A different environment altogether. The next slide, please. And as we are still experiencing all this tremendous uncertainty, we recommend a couple of things, focusing on really leveraging existing technology or solutions. And these are there to really look at immediate return on investment. So look at opportunities to implement at low cost and quick to return in terms of investments. The three areas, again, you've heard about this probably several times, but network planning and scheduling. Over the past few months, experts have helped airlines navigate strategic planning and scheduling challenges. For example, from how to approach social distancing measures through seating arrangements to more long-term decisions that analyze feasible schedule scenarios for rapidly changing demand and fleet size and operational constraints. So really a key part of the business. Airline operations as a second one. Again, here, industry experts deployed updates to existing crew systems, which enable airlines to respond to operational disruptions in real time, saving weeks of valuable time and money. Very important technologies that have been employed to actually help the airlines in this uncertain environment. Irregular operation systems have been processing passengers for reaccommodation and have processed as many PNRs just in March 2020 as they did in the previous 6 months combined. So these solutions result in huge savings of manual work for the airlines, something to really zero in on because these are return on investments that are key. And then pricing and revenue management. Systems are available that allow you to keep an eye on the competition as well, ensure your most accurate pricing position, capturing customer behavior and your pricing competitiveness. These systems allow you to react precisely and quickly to schedule, price, and other market volatility. Again, the technology is there. These systems leverage machine learning-based price recommendations to accommodate and to automatically, adjust pricing. So the second poll I'd like to just move on to is a question, I think, because DC, if you want to put that up, I'll just read the question. Are you as an airline embracing technology transformation to get ready for the new world? And we've just given you really a high, average, and low. And really think about that question. How much are you really embracing technology right now? Because it really is key based on what I've said already. So DC, just let me know if the questions are up. I don't see them myself.
Okay, I have put the poll question up.
Thank you.
Participants can start responding to it.
Please, and let's just give 30 seconds or so, or a minute. It should be enough. Okay, DC?
No,
Your
no.
answers?
Can you just give people just, I think, 30 more seconds to
Okay, all right.
give their responses? Thank you, Steve.
Okay, DC, I think it should be enough. We need to move on.
Okay. So the results that have come in are most are for average between. Okay, now they're equal. We have
Okay.
responses. 50% are average between 4 to 6, and the other 50 is high, 7 to 10.
Okay, good. That's good result, actually. It really is important. Some of the aspects I've mentioned before, some real key things that need to be looked at for the future. So let's move on to the second agenda item, and let me pass it over to Christoph, who has been introduced. But Christoph, over to you, and I'll have my video off at the same time. Christoph?
Yeah, thank you, Steve. So I'm going to cover basically my part of the presentation that will touch more on the future of retailing and distribution, and how airlines today are challenged by this new way of managing the crisis, managing the COVID crisis, but as well how we are taking a path as a technology company to support that transition. Next slide, please. So what we can see here on the screen is really the different key challenges that airlines are facing through the time from the emergence of low-cost carrier back in the 1890s when low-cost came in and they started to challenge traditional distribution model. So they apply a very simple model based mainly on low price and demand stimulation. And all local sales were basically done through the direct channel. So, and it made a clear transformation from the way airline used to distribute through traditional GDS. So low-cost carriers were faster and they were much simpler in changing price and adjusting to the market. So it became a real challenge for traditional airlines to basically match these low-cost carrier due to the complexity of the distribution model in GDSs. So on top of that, low-cost carrier have been adding a new context in the way of selling and retailing, which is the context of ancillaries. So from seat selection to baggage, all that was suddenly priced separately from the ticket as such. And all that, of course, challenge even more the distribution scheme, as those ancillaries were not able to be distributed perfectly into GDSs. And of course, from that first element, that first crisis in the 1890s for traditional carrier, the low cost were basically benefiting from stimulating that demand and bringing a bit more retailing into the marketplace. The second important step in which the transition become more accurate is the COVID crisis. And it was unprecedented, as Steve mentioned earlier. And with COVID, a lot of airlines had to reduce capacity significantly and then monitor demand on an almost day-by-day basis. And as travel restrictions and quarantine are added or lifted, airlines have become quickly challenged to monitor capacity and changes in the market. So all these processes, due to the complexity of the existing distribution, the existing revenue management, pricing processes, have been disrupted and leaving a lot of place for manual work and manual override. From an analyst perspective, analysts around the world today work mainly on overriding traditional systems that were based in history. If we talk specifically on the revenue management side, historical data were key in revenue management prior to COVID crisis. And that's absolutely not the case anymore today. So why this is important? It's important that we take in consideration those two elements. Previous slide, please. Okay, let's keep it on that slide for the moment, it's fine. So that we take in consideration those two elements that were at the foundation of the acceleration of the transformation. The transformation that we took as a step at SABRE, but that all airlines are currently moving on, a transformation in technology and a simplification of processes. So what we see here is that more than ever, following to COVID crisis, incremental revenue is becoming essential for airlines to survive in this unpredictable marketplace. So the industry as such has taken a very important move from traditional processes and move to monitor schedule, price, and capacity. This makes, as I mentioned earlier, the change on system and the pressure on system even more relevant. So to compete and differentiate in the market, airlines today needs to adjust the distribution and adjust the offer almost in real time. It doesn't concern only the airline offer as such, but as well the ancillary part and the third-party content. So if we want to add on top of a seat selection or a baggage, a hotel room or a ground transfer, by definition, these should come as a full integrated offer to customers. So with more ancillaries, more option, airlines are today very limited due to the complexity of the current processes. And at the same time, we know that customers do expect personalized offers. They already face that, right? We have seen in other industry, like in hotels, in hospitality, a lot of efforts have been put to facilitate personalized offer, to increase customer segmentation and make sure that the customer has always access to the offer that is basically tailored for him. And for that, of course, if we think about how this takes place today with COVID, it basically accelerate this need of retailing transformation. And to move on that path, we clearly see that our industry needs to move away from manual processes and work more on automated models that will basically be based on both artificial intelligence and machine learning. Next slide, please. Can we move to the next slide? Okay, thank you. So from a customer perspective, the utilization of machine learning and artificial intelligence can facilitate the automation of processing personalized offers. And this couldn't be done today with manual processes or existing systems. So the limitation is mainly on the complexity, on the huge amount of data to manipulate. And in order to make it real time, the processing has to be extremely fast. So with machine learning and artificial intelligence, the technology will benefit from these models that are already applied in different industries. Through experimentation, testing the market, understanding better the customer segmentation, these models will calibrate in real time the proper personalized offer at time of shopping from a customer perspective. And by definition, this is going to increase the maximization of the customer satisfaction and at the same time, the revenue from an airline perspective. Next slide, please. So how does that fit from a retailing point of view? The next generation retailing, as we call it, or smart retailing at SABRE, is empowered by machine learning and artificial intelligence. So it's going to be a revolution in the way we understand customer behavior and we process offer to fit to each personalization from a customer perspective. Moving from a very static content that's based on a lot of rules and manual override from an analyst, we are going to facilitate the transition to a full dynamic processing of personalized offers in real time. From limited access to intelligence, limited access to segmentation of data and understanding of customer, with machine learning and artificial intelligence, we are going to build experimentation, feedback loop in processing of personalized offers. For managing ancillaries and third-party content very complexly today, using separate system, different way of viewing the ancillaries, viewing the revenues, we are going to include that in a full integrated offer that will enable airlines to position a complete package to customer from the ticket, ancillary, and third-party content perspective.
Christoph,
And finally,
can I just ask if DC can just press the button again, just to show the right part of the presentation? The second part, the right-hand part there. DC, just press the button again there, please. Oops. Okay.
thank you, Steve. Yeah.
Okay.
So finally, in summary, from today and the future, it's a clear switch from the manual processes, manual rules and strategy to response real-time processing of data and personalized offers. So basically, with all these new capabilities for machine learning and artificial intelligence, the speed of data processing will enable an airline to position this personalized offer in real time with automation and less manual override. Next slide, please. So when we talk about artificial intelligence and machine learning, these concepts have already proven their application in the travel industry over the last few years. So it's not new. Many companies do use machine learning and artificial intelligence, and they have observed significant results from applying those models in real time. So for example, United Airlines, by applying 150 different variables in their customer segmentation, reported a 15% year-over-year revenue increase. Or TUI Group, from moving the technology combining AI and ML away from human experience, they have been able to increase customer satisfaction by 22%, and that was measured at the EBITDA of the group. American Express as well, by linking all the offers from flight, hotel, and restaurant reservation, they were also able to increase the reduction in calls coming from their call center for bundling all these content together. Expedia, the same. Expedia has been using machine learning models for a long time in the way they process bookings for hotels. And all these models have proven Expedia to bring 8% of additional conversion rate on a year-over-year basis. So it's a small example on how it's already applied today in our industry and how basically these models can be applied to airlines. Next slide, please. And not only to the example I have shown on the previous slide, but also in other industries, artificial intelligence and machine learning have been extremely efficient in the way of supporting processes of those different sectors. And if we think about Google Cloud, we have signed a long-term partnership with Google Cloud, but we are not the only company that have signed long-term partnership with Google. From our perspective, we want to bring this partnership in the center of on how we are going to accelerate the development of artificial intelligence and machine learning technologies for travel. So we are bringing our travel expertise, our GDS expertise, and Google is bringing more the AI ML side on top of very fast processing of data through the cloud. Next slide. So what's SABRE Travel AI? SABRE Travel AI is basically a state-of-the-art intelligent engine that will power the future of travel. So it's created, as I said, partly from SABRE and partly from Google. And basically, it makes scalable, practical artificial intelligence real for the travel industry. So why Google was the right partner, I have shown before, because they have proven record of being successful in many industries to bring AI and ML together. And by basically benefiting from the expertise from Google and bringing that together with our experience in the travel and the distribution, we believe that we are going to have a strong partnership to process smarter and faster distribution to the marketplace. Next slide. So how this takes place in the context of the current retailing from an airline perspective, we have seen three steps, three generations of retailing. And the third step really is the one where smart retailing takes fully place. So at the beginning, as I have shown on previous slide, airlines were distributing mainly through GDSs. Complexity of distributing web offers, distributing third-party content, ancillaries through GDS have been extremely challenging for airlines. From these hard-coded actions, the industry has moved to data and analytics that became prevalent on the way airlines could customize better their offers, but still having the issue of bundling ancillaries and tickets together. So, and that came as well with a lot of additional workload for the analysts to set rules, to define overriding processes in system in order to optimize in the GDS the same content that they would have on the web. And that came fully from the move from an industry perspective from traditional distribution in GDS to the low-cost carrier bringing that dimension of direct channel. And now direct channel needs to be essential now for airline. And I'm going to show later in the presentation as well how we are going to make that happen in an NDC context. So as an industry, we are now ready for the third generation. The third generation that will move from these manual processes to machine learning and automation, letting intelligence to move on the way of processing offers rather than making the analyst taking decision on a day-by-day basis and overriding. And the last but not the least, having these offers directly processed in real time rather than having to wait nightly batches. We know that in revenue management, in pricing, monitoring competition on an ad hoc basis, all that will be in the future, in the third generation retailing, will be automated. And system will learn on the fly how customers behave and how customers shop for offers. Next slide, please.
Christoph, can we just, we've missed the third question. Can we do that quickly?
I'm sorry. Steve, the question is in error.
Okay. All right, let's move on then. That's fine.
Yeah. So as I said, when we think about machine learning and artificial intelligence, we also think about how this could be broadly distributed to all channels. And the main complexity being the GDS as such. GDS have been always the main complexity for airlines to adjust to personalize offer, to add content and distribute content in almost real time. So today, with NDC, we have technology that will enable smart retail engine to distribute personalized offer in almost real time to all different channels. With the access of personalized offer, travel agents will be able to compare and offer different packages to different customer profile, to different segment in almost real time. That will significantly improve the conversion rate for airline. That will also significantly maximize revenue. So in the future, SABRE Travel AI will help creating virtual branded fairs, will help creating dynamic offers, dynamic packages on the shelves that both the direct channel and the GDS will be able to sell through NDC. And that would be basically a better way to compare, and that will be as well a better way to segment it properly for each customer type. Next slide, please. So when we talk about NDC, just in summary, we have been, SABRE, partnering with IATA and airlines to improve and develop our NDC capabilities. We are still very confident that this will take a step further with Smart Retail Engine, where smart retailing may play a role essential in the way NDC is built as a technology, but in the way as well, our NDC will play a key role in distributing personalized offer. So why NDC is fundamental? Because it enables airline to distribute simultaneously offers, both in the direct and indirect channel, and having as well equivalent content, which today is still a challenge. So on the left, you see the current complexity that makes it impossible for airlines to distribute simultaneously the same content from a GDS perspective and from a direct, from a web perspective. So in order to distribute all that to the different channels, NDC will support with the technology the distribution of personalized offer to travel agents. So with NDC, we believe that airlines will have finally the proper solution combined with Smart Retail Engine to avoid the issue of distribution, to avoid the issue of having always this gap between direct and indirect channel distribution. Next slide, please. It's not only about creating compelling offers, but also it's about making sure that this complex, full personalized offer can be distributed widely. Airlines are able to distribute such offer at the moment only on their direct channel. So we believe in the future that this will become history. If we have a new smart content, new dynamic offers that will include not only the airline related content, but over time include more and more non-air content, we believe that smart retail engine and smart retailing as such will become the rule in our industry as well. It has been the rule in many other industries, and we believe it's going to be the rule for the travel industry as well. Next slide. So this slide here summarizes how we move from the left, from a traditional distribution scheme to a full NDC content. NDC will be critical and essential, as I mentioned, to empower the distribution of personalized dynamic offers to the market. It will break the complexity of GDS distribution and ensure airlines to position same content through all channels. We are looking forward at SABRE to embrace this new journey together with airlines and the entire travel community. Thank you for your participation. Now I think we will see a quick video and then we'll move on questions.
Thank you, Christophe. Can I just ask, we've missed a couple of the questions, but I think that's fine. There is a question in the poll currently, number 3. If you can just go to the poll on the right-hand side of your screen. Does your airline use smart retailing practices incorporating AI already? Just a quick question there that you can answer, please. And then can we put up the 4th question, please, as well? And we can get everyone to answer that one. And while that's happening, we can put the video on. I think there's it's just a short video on some of the work that's going on with our Google partnership. I'm not sure the sound is coming through.
DC, can you show results? Yeah.
I'm sorry.
DC, please share results.
So for question number 3, does your airline use smart retailing practices incorporating AI already? We received 25% of the answer as no. We received 50% of the answer as partially, and we received 25% of the answer as yes.
Okay, that's pretty good. It does mean that, obviously it's early days for everyone, but still very much on the agenda. Thank you.
Okay.
Were you able to share the fourth one?
Okay, so the fourth one is still open. We've just received one response. We are encouraging the participants to kindly take the polls that are on the side. Kindly participate in the polls. So far, we've received to a large extent as the response. Okay. For those who are participating, we thank you for doing that. For those who are trying to, we still have about 30 seconds for you to respond on the fourth poll question. Okay.
Okay, I think we can share
So,
results.
yes. So the response for number 4, the poll number 4, do you believe that your passengers are looking for a higher degree of personalization, e.g. AI, ML, shopping when booking travel? The responses are 37% to a small extent and 63% to a large extent. Allow me to just correct that because I think people are just polling now. Okay, I'll close this poll for now. So the final tally is we've received 44% to a small extent and 56% to a large extent.
That's an interesting one to me. Perhaps certainly our belief is that personalization is growing at such a rapid rate in terms of what passengers want. So, to a small extent, is an interesting result for me. But that's good. Thank you.
Yeah, but Steve, you would also appreciate that if it is not there today, for many airlines, if they don't actually have personalized services to a greater extent, chances are nobody would actually be pushing for it because it doesn't exist.
Sure, yes.
It's only
no, I
when the
understand
airlines begin to try, that is when they'll
Yes.
begin to see that, no, there's an appetite out there for them to do even more.
Absolutely. And the revenue gain, of course. Yeah, that's
Yes.
a good point. Okay, and then number 5. I think you can close that number 5, DC. It's changing slightly. Okay.
Hello? You can hear me?
For number 5, yeah, we can now.
Okay. So for number 5, we've received the following responses. 29% have responded medium to the question, do you see NDC being an important part of your retailing distribution approach? So 29% have responded. Okay. Sorry, Steve, I'm seeing people are still responding. For the participants, if you'd wish to respond, kindly just do so right now. Okay, I will be closing the poll now. Okay, so the tally is that 33% responded as medium and 67% responded as to a large, 56% responded as high, 67% responded as high.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, I think all these programs are certainly going in the right direction. So that's great. Thank you, everybody, for your participation. Can we move forward to the video, DC, please, just at the end, after which we'll take some questions and answers.
Okay, we are playing the video shortly.
How can technology make travel more personal? Introducing SABRE Travel AI, the ingrained technology that will help make personalized travel a reality. Bringing together SABRE's deep industry expertise with Google Cloud's state-of-the-art AI technology and advanced learning capabilities, SABRE Travel AI enables travel companies to take retailing and customer experiences to the next level. Access real-time, unprecedented data on traveler preferences and business insights like never before to provide the right offer to the right person at the right time. Extending that customized experience all the way through to the day of travel. It's about getting better acquainted with today's traveler, who they are, their likes, their dislikes, and using predictive insights to keep them coming back for more. Increase revenue opportunities while enabling more tailored travel experiences. Scalable, intelligent. Take a bold step forward in infusing decision science across the full travel spectrum. And get ready to experience everything SABRE Travel AI has in store for the future of travel.
Thank you, DC. Thanks very much for showing that. Do you want to just handle the questions if there are any, or if we can encourage a few, that'll be good. We're here on standby.
Okay, I'm sorry, Steve. I'm just waiting to see if the participants are planning to ask any questions.
Okay, sure.
So far, no one has asked yet.
So, Steve, if I may, so now AI and ML are going to be the future of the travel and retail industry. Now, as airlines, most of whom have not even thought about it, where is the starting point? Where do they start from? by contacting SABRE, by reading about it, just some highlight on how can an airline that might be interested in going this route begin the journey. Thank you.
Thanks, Raphael. Christophe, can I just pass it to you at this point? I can answer a little, but it's up to you.
I just start to answer and maybe I can complement.
Yeah, sure. I think what's important, AI and ML are, really just tools that are being used by companies similar to ours, and ours included, of course. We're using those tools currently together with Google in our partnership. And what we're doing in that combined fashion, using the tools available, is to build out new opportunities for shopping and retailing, which is now extremely important, as I pointed out in the presentation. So really, it's the ability to make sure that whoever your system provider is using these tools in the intelligent fashion. So my sort of answer, partially at least for now, is yes, reach out to your vendor to find out, what sort of opportunities are being put in place in terms of shopping from an AI point of view. This is really important because it's the whole personalization push has become so vital in terms of being able to really pull offers together in the right manner. And here we're talking this big language, but we're talking about booking a seat and booking a hotel and a car and insurance and everything all in one shot, and personalizing it to particular individuals dependent on their travel patterns. And that's really what this is about. So Christophe, anything additional from you?
Yeah, I think, Steve, thank you. It's good answer. On top of that, I would say, airlines have been managing processes of retailing, especially on the PRM side, pricing and revenue management, in matching competition, right? Without having proper insight on customer segmentation. So what really the customer wants, how really the customer perceive my product. So for a long time, prior to SABRE, I was working almost 20 years in the industry in several roles, and always the same thing came in mind, right? Why do I have to match my competitor? Why, as an airline, I cannot basically define my price based on my product in line to customer expectation, right? And that's something that AI and ML will do. AI and ML will tell each airline what's the value and the perception of their product for their customers, right? And in that sense, we will bridge all that together, and not only us, but all vendors, all systems will bridge that together, that not only the competition is a relevant criteria to take in consideration, but much more important, customer perception, customer behavior, customer willingness to pay for each of the airline product. And that's really the essential change, right? We have highlighted in the presentation today.
Thanks, Christophe. Thank you, Raphael, for the question. I see there's not other questions at this point, so perhaps can I just move to that last slide and just thank everybody for participating today. And
hello, Steve. Sorry, just allow me to interject.
Sure.
We've just received a question right now. This is how it reads. Thanks for the presentation, Steve. You made a comment about OTAs in Africa competing with airlines as opposed to collaborating. Could you further elaborate on this, please?
Sure. I think perhaps I was wrongly worded that to say what I'm saying is the OTAs have been extremely good at packaging offers. So certainly they are able to pull offers together from various third parties and put it together. Airlines traditionally have not been able to do, or not doing it enough on their own. So what I'm saying is the OTA is capable of making these offers in a bundled fashion, but the airlines have been slower, perhaps because of systems and so on, to do the same thing. So just from that perspective, if I want to go and make, find a package somewhere, I'll run off to an OTA rather than going to an airline and trying to fish around for, a ticket and this and that and the other. They tend to be in my opinion at least, or in our opinion at least, OTAs tend to have developed further and quicker in that respect. So that's what I meant from it.
Thank you, Steve.
Okay, so then if there are no further questions, can we conclude by me thanking Steve and Christophe and the entire team at SABRE who helped put this masterclass together for us today. It's very exciting and insightful. If I may just try and recap a couple of points that I think came up out from the masterclass. It would appear that you said following the pandemic, the industry will see changes relating to deglobalization due to changes and restrictions on border for travel. Demand dislocation will also be an element where domestic travel is leading the recovery. And the third element is that markets will evolve, where consumers are leaning towards online booking much more than before. Now, to achieve personalized offers and end-to-end offer management, airlines must overcome challenges in leveraging big data, adopting classless revenue management practices, and must remove silos that exist across pricing, revenue management, and ancillary teams. Smart retailing is essential to survive in today's dynamic market to unlock the incremental revenue streams. And artificial intelligence and machine learning power the path to travel transformation. I also gather that smart retailing will initially benefit the direct channels, and NDC integration will help ensure travel agencies have instant access to the same personalized, relevant offers as in the direct channels. But SABRE's partnership with Google is helping to power the future of travel, and exciting solutions are being developed. So from my perspective, we're looking forward to SABRE coming up with some of these new products that will emerge from their partnership with Google. In addition, we will keep track of what is happening in the industry through this evolution post-COVID, and as much as possible, reach out to SABRE for help whenever we need to do so. So ladies and gentlemen, in summary, this is what I captured. I'm not sure what you captured, but I would want on your behalf to once again thank Steve and Christophe for taking us through this very informative masterclass today. On behalf of all of you, I want to say thank you again. Thank you for being our guest today since afternoon for over 5 hours now. We look forward to you joining us tomorrow when we resume again at 1 p.m. East African time to continue with the program for this Aviation Stakeholders Convention. Thank you so much, everyone, and you have a nice evening, and catch up with you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you.
I said it closed the questions just before like 10 minutes. Because we have 50 slides.